welcome to another edition of the Litigation Psychology Podcast, brought to you by Courtroom Sciences. Dr. Bill Kanasky here, coming at you from St. Louis and in another hotel room. Yeah, got in at midnight, up before. I will say this, in the first quarter of 2023, I have done more trial work. Oh my, trials are going full steam ahead. So a lot of work with witness training for trial testimony, voir dire development, jury selection strategies, mock trials, to prepare, because it's really, really important. And it's my understanding that the plaintiff's bar has coordinated and communicated to each other that they are going to push these cases to the courtroom, and they're going to bet the farm that the defense will not be adequately prepared. That's their game plan. There's no mystery, there's no hiding. That's what they're doing. And I've said this on many of podcasts before, I do plaintiff work in commercial litigation, not personal injury, in commercial litigation, where my client is a corporation, a kind of a typical defense client, but now they have themselves in usually a contract dispute with another company. And I'm working on 3 of those cases right now. Those 3 plaintiff trial teams are pedal to the metal, doing everything they can to outmaneuver their adversary, and we're going to court. We are going to trial. And as it should be, So there's no substitute for proper preparation, and the earlier the better. So keep that in mind, folks, because 2023 is going to be the year of the trial, because all these postponements and continuances from COVID are now popping up, and you've got to be ready, because you do not want a nuclear verdict. I would love a nuclear verdict on these plaintiff cases I'm working on, and that's my full intention. I want to make that very clear. I am trying to create a nuclear verdict, and who better to do that than an expert in nuclear verdicts like myself? So on 90% of my files, I am working to decrease or eliminate or suppress nuclear verdicts, nuclear settlements, and help my clients either resolve these cases very favorably or win at trial. The 10% of my cases, I'm actually trying to create a nuclear verdict, and I know exactly how to do that, and that's my full intention. So I fully intend on winning these cases, and I fully intend on sharing with you those nuclear verdicts and how we accomplished them. Today's podcast, though, is a very different topic. It's going to be a very short podcast because I have to go prep a witness for trial across the street here in St. Louis. But I wanted to talk, I'm going to call this the defense counsel narcissistic injury. And 20 years of doing this, it continues to happen where I get hired. So you have to understand, half the time I get hired by the corporate legal department or the insurance company. The other half of the time I get hired by defense counsel. And when I get hired by defense counsel, there's really no problems. They know me, they want me, they're highly motivated to win, whether that being winning, at mediation by having their case properly assessed, empirically assessed, having their witnesses giving very effective deposition testimony that then can be used as leverage in a negotiation. When I get hired by defense counsel, there's no problems. However, when corporate hires me or the insurance company hires me, and let's just say force me upon defense counsel, that's where the problems have, and that's where what I will call the narcissistic injuries happen. A lot of defense counsel are uncomfortable with that. I have talked to defense counsel about this. They've been very candid, and I wanted to share my experience with this because I think it's very important. I've been told by defense counsel, multiple defense counsel, and in fact, many defense counsel that highly disliked me not necessarily personally, but disliked my presence in the case. Disliked me early, and now we're best friends and we work together all the time. And I've talked to them, and I've talked to current attorneys that have had a problem with my presence. And it all boils down to a couple different points, and I thought it was important to talk about this. Um, Several defense counsel, when I get brought in by the client, are appalled, particularly with witness training. They are appalled that the client thinks that they need extra help. Defense counsel has shared with me, they're the trial attorney. They know how to prep witnesses, and the fact that the client has recommended or forced them to use someone like me is an insult, and that's really not true. And so, first off, I don't prep witnesses. I train witnesses, and I train them neurocognitively. My expertise is in cognition, behavior, and emotion, which happens to be the top three areas of why your witnesses fail. Attorneys prep witnesses. You guys go over the documents, go over the exhibits, you guys create the strategy. That's your area. I can assist in that area, but that's really not what I do. That's the trial attorney's job. And so the combination of having the psychological expert combined with the legal expert really leads to devastatingly effective results. But a lot of attorneys get upset because they feel as though they're being undermined by the client, that their talent or their motivation or their efforts are being questioned, and that's really not it at all. So I've had several defense counsel tell me, yeah, at first I really didn't like you there. I felt that this was a waste of my time. I was appalled that the client wanted this. And then in the end, they're like, oh, okay, this was not what I was not what I was expecting. This is very different from what I do. And there's a tremendous amount of value in it. And they tend to get over it pretty quickly. So I'm not there to compete with defense counsel. I am certainly there to supplement what they're doing, to take their bad witnesses to good or their good witnesses to great. And there's really not much overlap with what I do. Secondly, I have heard several defense counsel tell me that they get aggravated that I get brought in and they look at what I charge on a daily rate, and then they look at their hourly rate and they get offended. Well, this insurance company or this client is paying me this inadequate hourly rate, which has already ticked them off. And then, you come in big shot and they're paying you your full rate. And, that's a bunch of bullshit. Well, I mean, I'm an expert, I'm a PhD. I try to provide the most elite services in this area. And yeah, it's expensive. And the clients are okay with that because they want a certain result. And they know that them investing in that is a big deal, and they're okay with it. But I think the compensation differences there between the expert consultant and sometimes, not all the time, sometimes the trial attorney, creates a problem as well. And so, these are issues that popped up over the years. They continue to happen. It happened to me yesterday. I will not tell you where I was at, but I walked in. It's a high exposure case, and these were two defense counsel, both in their 40s. And there was this visceral reaction when I walked in the room. They were very pleasant and professional, but you could tell they didn't want to be there. You could tell they thought, why are we doing this? I don't need this, blah, 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 blah. And I transformed these two witnesses over a 2-day period, right in front of them. And they were shocked. And afterwards were my best friends. I mean, afterwards admitted to me like, wow. They both said wow. And they said, this was not what we were expecting. And I said, yeah, I know this is not my first rodeo. And they were shocked at the effectiveness and were very, very pleased with everything. They took copious notes. They asked a bunch of important questions. And you can immediately tell that these attorneys had figured out that I can be a pretty powerful weapon for them. I'm not replacing anything that the defense attorney does. Now, a lot of defense counsel will say things like, well, I tell my witnesses a lot of this stuff as well. It just doesn't work. And I said, well, yeah, because I don't tell your witness anything. I teach them. I have to neurocognitively assess this witness in a way that a defense attorney cannot do. It's impossible. Um, Defense attorneys don't have advanced training in cognition, behavior, emotion. So I'm able to really assess and analyze witnesses very differently. I will see things that you will never see, uh, both strengths and weaknesses, which is really important. And then I neurocognitively then train the witness to perform. And that's not easy. That takes a lot of advanced training. There are other people in my industry that don't have my background or training, that work with witnesses, um, that quite frankly don't do a very good job of it. A lot of probably 20% of my cases, I come in after a previous consultant has been hired and a witness has failed because they can't adequately assess and then address the cognitive behavioral issues going on, and give very superficial guidance. You could tell a witness, you know, think before you speak, keep your answers short, don't volunteer information. Here's my favorite, stay calm. Stay calm. Don't get nervous. Don't get rattled. Like, that's impossible. That's not how the human brain is wired. People can't. It's impossible for them to do that without advanced training. And so that's really, what I provide, what my colleague Dr. Steve Wood provides, a way to get your witness to be highly effective during their testimony by addressing these neurocognitive issues for you, okay, and then doing the training with you. This is a team effort. Again, I want to make this very clear. I don't replace anything a defense attorney would do. I'm a supplement, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. And if you get stuck with me, or if you get stuck with a different consultant, I would urge you to be a little bit more open-minded about what we're trying to accomplish. I would be skeptical. I think skepticism is healthy. I've never blamed a defense, because this happens all the time, where a defense counsel afterwards will go out to dinner and they'll say, I was totally against this and now I'm totally for it. And I apologize if I was a little cold to you up front, because I kind of took this the wrong way from the client. This happens to me every week. And I'm not a dick about it. The first thing I do is acknowledge it. I say, hey, you're not the first person to do this. And you came around, and this happens a lot. And listen, all is well that ends well. And the witnesses perform. It makes here's another great benefit. It makes you look good. When your attorneys perform, you benefit from that. The client appreciates that. The witnesses are thrilled, and you're going to get more trust from the client. You're going to get more, I would argue you'd get more files. And it's actually going to improve your position with the client. I'm really, really there to help you. But I understand your position. I can empathize with you. It's having an outsider come in and take charge, right? I mean, you're the attorney. You don't deal with that a lot. But it's overall, it's a great positive. I have really, really good relationships with the attorneys that I work with. And there's a minority of defense attorneys that just never get over this. And they just bitch and moan and him and ha the whole time. But um, I don't think that's necessary. We are all on the same team. We want the same outcomes. And that goes for, things like focus groups and mock trials, jury selection strategy, voir dire development. We work on so many cases, right? Relative to an attorney per year. An attorney may work on what? Somewhere between 5 to 12 cases a year is my guess. Yeah, I work on 150 or 200 some years. I see it all. I have a very unique perspective on what your enemy is doing, right? Because I see so many different angles. If something new is happening in the plaintiff bar, I will know about before anything else, and I will educate you and your team about what I'm seeing and some of the new tricks or traps. So it's a good thing. Defense counsel, I love you. Okay. And if you're pissed off and whiny, okay, early on in our process, I'm going to let it slide. And my job, quite frankly, my job is I want to win you over. I want to show you the value. And I want to show you how when we combine together, not me replacing you, when we combine our expertise together, your legal expertise with my neurocognitive expertise, that is when you get the most fantastic outcomes. You win, I win, clients win, witnesses win, winning, #winning team. All right. Should I give you a rant today? You have to write down my, okay, here's my rant. Okay, back to the airport. I love my airport rants. Okay, if they call your group, right? And they call your group 1 you can board, or group 2 you can board, or if you're on Southwest, right, A1 through 15, whatever. If you get up to that desk and they're scanning boarding passes and you do not have your boarding pass ready, I just want to choke you. I mean, everybody just wants to get on this damn plane and get to where they're going. And you got people killing each other to get on this plane. I mean, group 1, people stand up and it's like boxing out, right? People are boxing each other out like we're in a Duke Carolina game. And they have to get up there first. And then you get up there and your damn app isn't even open. And then you got to drop your luggage, and then you got to go fooling around with your damn phone, pull up your app, and I'm 3 people behind you. Like, okay, you're the guy that just knocked over 3 old ladies to get in line. You just boxed me out because you had to get in line. You had to get it, right? And then you get up there and you don't have your app open with your boarding pass. Okay? People, come on, folks, smarten up. Have some respect for your fellow traveler and have your damn app open. This happened to me yesterday. That's when you scream at the guy, like, what? Come on. Travel etiquette, folks. Travel etiquette. All right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go fix witnesses for trial. Dr. Bill Kanasky. This is the Litigation Psychology Podcast. Thank you so much for participating. We'll see you next time. Bye.